how many of you are familiar with Thrive? Dr. Wilder, Thrive, some of the hands going up. Okay, so on our websites we mentioned there's a colleague we work with very closely, and the Immanuel Approach is a very specific piece as far as helping people connect with Jesus. And there's also a very compatible, kind of complementary body of teaching about, how to have healthy relationships.
Growing maturity.
Growing maturity. A really good analogy there is if your hands are damaged, you can't play the piano, correct? If you fix your hands, now you can learn to play the piano, but just fixing your hands doesn't make you able to play the piano. I mean, unless you could play before. And trauma, unresolved healing, unresolved trauma, hugely gets in the way of learning maturity skills. If you've got trauma in there, it just makes it so hard to learn. And lack of maturity skills gets in the way of trauma. And then what's really neat is a core part of the whole Immanuel thing is you help people connect with Jesus, and then as much as possible, let him lead. And he seems to understand all this stuff and the balance and the discernment. He's a brilliant clinician. And so you'll do a healing piece, and then the person will, the maturity task they've been stuck on for the last 30 years, then it'll just kind of fall into place. And they'll have to work on that, because maturity skills are something you have to actually learn. But you get the trauma out of the way, and this one just, it goes nicely. This new additional capacity and maturity skill, they do that for a while, and then there's trauma that they've never been able to get to because they didn't have the capacity or the maturity skill, and then they go do that. They take care of that trauma, and then there's another maturity skill that opens up. And you'll watch the Lord go back and forth in this beautiful, balanced, I often catch myself thinking, you're such a good clinician, Lord. Because the clinical judgment is really spectacular. Back and forth. Healing, maturity skill, healing, maturity skill. So Dr. Wilder and the Thrive team do a lot of work on maturity skill building.